Hi there, this is Jacob Nash, and this is a review of Module 60, Introduction to Intelligence. So this unit will mostly be about intelligence. So what is intelligence, actually? So this is just our ability to learn from experience, solve problems, and use knowledge to adapt to new situations. Okay, sorry, there we go. Trying to find the laser thing. All right, so intelligence tests. So we have tests that are supposed to be able to test your intelligence. We just have methods for assessing an individual's mental aptitudes and comparing them. We can compare them with each other. Okay, so there's something called Savant syndrome. This is when a person has limited mental ability but may be exceptional in computation or drawing. So, as stated, people that have this syndrome, they may have limited mental ability, but as you can see in this picture, this guy who has Savant syndrome, he may have a limited mental ability, but he's able to just remember what a city looks like and draw it very well. Spearman's G. So here's Spearman. So you need to know this guy. He has something that he calls G, which stands for general intelligence. He thinks that this is something that basically underlies specific mental abilities and is measured by every task on an intelligence test. So it's just a general intelligence that he believes that we all have. Kind of just like like it said, a combination of the different tasks that you might do. Then there's factor analysis. Uh, sorry. Um, so this is just identifying clusters of related items or factors. Just this is just studying technique. Um, Gardner's 8 intelligences. So now we're talking about Gardner. And he thought we had 8 intelligences, or thinks, I should say, because he's not dead. um, Naturalist, linguistic. You don't actually have to know all 8. You just need to know that he thinks that there's 8. You don't have to know all 8 by name for AP exam purposes. But it may be useful to know them. While Spearman thought there was 1 intelligence, Gardner thought that there was 8. And then grit. This is just an idea of passion and perseverance for pursuit of long-term goals. If you have grit, you're going to be have perseverance for long-term goals. Steinberg's 3. So now we have this guy, Sternberg. And he thought, like I said, he thought there was 3. Analytical, creative, practical. So his analytical was just what you might do in school, academic solving problems. And then creative. This is just generating novel ideas, and then practical is just everyday tasks. This one kind of makes the most sense to me, because sometimes it seems like that someone might be strong in one category, but not in others. Personally, sometimes I struggle with practical intelligence. Sometimes there's everyday tasks that I just can't seem to get a hold of at first. At least I can later on. But anyways, an emotional intelligence is just an concept of that we have an intelligence that allows us to perceive, understand, and manage and use our emotions. And then one more thing, how does brain size correlate with intelligence? So it somewhat does. It's not a very strong correlation, 0.33. So as we get closer to 1, that's a stronger correlation. As we get closer to 0, that's a weaker correlation. So it's not a very strong one, but take Albert Einstein, for example. He did have a not necessarily his full brain was bigger than usual, but at least some parts of his brain, like the frontal lobe. All right, I'm sorry that these are kind of small, but that's just the only thing I could do. I didn't really feel like putting it on more than one slide. So what is a statistical procedure that identifies clusters of related items? That's really all we need to know. Remember how I say sometimes you can just see one part and then you know. Vector analysis. Remember that was on a previous slide. Please review if you don't remember. Because I didn't, I actually said that exact thing. But anyways, does Savant syndrome support the idea of general intelligence? No. Remember, general intelligence was Spearman's idea, but Savant syndrome does not support that, because if that was true, then it would make sense that people would be able to, for example, draw a city. So it doesn't make sense with it. Create an example of Robert Sternberg's practical intelligence. Well, that's what I was talking about. Sometimes it's difficult for me. Early uses his practical intelligence to resolve a dispute between two of his friends that motivates them to get along, solving a practical problem. Yeah, that's more of a basic example. According to Howard Gardner, what type of intelligence, so he's the one with 8, is a individual's ability to understand themselves and be aware of their talents and limitations. Intrapersonal. Inter, so here's a way that I always remember any kind of inter or intra. So there's lots of words that use that, and here's what can help you remember. So interstates go. The word inter goes between multiple things. So an interstate is a road that goes in multiple states. There are some interstates that are only in one state, but most go into other states. That's why they're interstates. But think about what road you might live on. That's an intrastate, if you want to say intrastate road. It stays within the state. So intrapersonal would only make sense if that's within the person. Interpersonal is another one of Gardner's 8 intelligences, and that would be for all that, like understanding other people around, if that makes sense. And most of his other intelligences are just called what they sound like they would be anyways. So identified 2 concepts that allow a person to play Scrabble or create words out of a series of letters. Well, I didn't really talk about this. Remember, I didn't make these questions. So this isn't necessarily that important of a thing, but if you think about it, heuristics and linguistic intelligence would help for that. And linguistic is another one of Gardner's 8. And what does that sound like? Language. That would, of course, help with Scrabble. And heuristics. What are heuristics? Remember, this is a review from another unit. That's just our common way that we try to solve problems. So, of course, that would help with Scrabble, but whatever. There's multiple answers that would work for that. That's why that's pretty much a dumb question, but whatever. Because there's not anything like that on the AP exam. I mean, technically, for the FRQs, you could say different things, but whatever. All right, what does Charles Spearman's G mean? It means general intelligence. Underlies specific mental abilities. Did that already know that? What 3 types of intelligence does Sternberg think there are? Analytical, creative, practical. What type of intelligence allows a person to perceive, understand, and manage and use emotions? That's emotional intelligence. What does research about brain size and function suggest? Brain size is somewhat correlated with intelligence, as discovered with Lord Byron. You don't need to know that. You just need to know that there is a correlation. That's all. All right, bam. Thanks for watching.